Hello, friends. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, and welcome to everybody. This is our Libra pre-full moon webinar. The actual Libra full moon is not until about 24 hours from now at 11:37:39 GMT, and that's on the 18th, and this is the 17th from GMT perspective. Yes, I trust that we are all in order here. This, as we look at the banner for the sign Libra, we see a very powerful mantra. I choose the way which leads between the two great lines of force. It is the way of soul, in one respect, leading between the forces of spirit and matter, and then it is the way of non-duality, leading between the positive and the receptive. The three planets, customarily Venus, the orthodox ruler, the planet of love and beauty and the fusion of heart and mind, and then Uranus, which brings us the first ray and seventh ray aspect, the father aspect, and finally the most powerful planet of all, which is the hierarchical ruler, is Saturn, and it's also the planet exalted here. This is preeminently the sign or constellation of the great third ray, which Saturn also represents, and it represents the possibility of judgment and of intelligent choice at a point of crisis. We'll elaborate more upon those as we go. We see the Jafra image. It's very occult, filled with Masonic symbolism in some ways. We see the Libran yin and yang and the solar and lunar powers. Of course, they are all mixed in a way. It's not as if the sun is entirely on the right and the moon is entirely on the left. But we have the marriage of the sun and moon, and this being the Ajna center symbol, also in a way the symbol of infinitude. This is the marriage of the polarities, the masculine and the feminine. We see this down here in rather Chaldean representation of the angelic kingdom, almost as if it's the male and female aspects of this primarily female kingdom, because the wings represent the angelic kingdoms. We have the tessellated floor that is found so often in various lodges, especially the Masonic Lodge, representing the duality of life, the great pairs of opposites, the light and darkness, the checkerboard, showing us that we can never, in this particular series of worlds, escape from this duality, and maybe not in the universe as a whole. We have the flourishing of the lily and the rose, telling us that Libra is a great sign of unfolding beauty and represents a consummation in beauty prior to destruction, which maybe tells us something about why Saturn and Uranus, two planets with a powerful first ray, are so strong within it. Here is the Egyptian symbology, and we have here the representation of the man and of the Deva, and the weighing of the heart is occurring. Now, there's always going to be a judgment with Libra. This judgment can occur after every incarnation, and what it means is that there must be a decision as to whether the soul is sent back into incarnation, or whether one can move on because the consummation, the fourth initiation, can be taken. That tells us something about the power of the of Libra in that particular initiation, because the causal body is completely, fully, beautifully filled out with all quality and harmonized. And it's at that point that the fourth degree can be taken, but not unless the heart, the arbiter of the past, is as light as a feather, meaning that there is no unfinished business, no karma remaining. So before every incarnation, our heart is weighed, and if there is still unfinished business and still further development to be achieved, then we are sent back into incarnation. And what is not shown here is that Makara, the crocodile, representing the personality, eats the heart, which is the symbol of the soul having to go back into the elemental realms. But always there is the weighing and evaluating process which is occurring. Here we see that the symbol for Thoth, who is the great recorder, is holding the Ankh, which is the symbol of Venus, and we see the polarities of the Kundalini wrapping entirely around the man and showing their the ultimate union of the poles. So indeed a very powerful sign of fusion. Frequently it does lead actually into Shambhala. This is the interesting thing, you know. Libra is sometimes considered to be a mild sign, but it's not. It does rule the royal road, which travels all the way from the base of the spine center of will into the crown center of purpose. The Sushumna is ruled by Libra, and so it admits into this higher center of being, where the pairs of opposites are perfectly balanced, and in fact they are fused into one. They all merge, let two merge with one. It is one of the words of power of the fourth ray, and it also has a great deal to do with the power of Libra as well. We have here this beautiful image by Francis Donald, and it demonstrates, well, many, many things. I'll just show ahead of time so we can talk about this. This is Venus, or in a way Pallas Athene, emerging from the father aspect. The father aspect is shown as Uranus directly in back of her, and if we were to blow this image up into a very large size, we would see that the planet Saturn sits above all of this. So here are the three rulers before us. We have also the dodecahedron, which is the 12-sided figure represented with each face as a pentagon, showing the very close relationship here to the monastic aspect found in Libra, the 3, the 5, the 7. Though the rulers of Libra are all found on the hard line, we should not imagine that it has no connection with the second ray, because in a very deep way it's connected with divine love and understanding, and the spirit of peace and the prince of peace, both powerfully on the second ray, of course, are related to Libra. Let's take a look at a few things that Francis says about this. This is, he calls Venus Athena here, but really if you look at the astrological symbols of the two, you will see that Pallas Athene and Venus are very similar, except that Pallas Athene has a diamond where Venus has a circle, perhaps showing a somewhat more rounded out and complete version of Pallas Athene. When Athena burst forth fully formed from the head of Zeus, she gave us a most graphic example of the nature of Libra, both brilliant and beautiful. She epitomizes the ideal feminine, the third aspect of divinity. The razor's edge also depicts Venus at the instant of her emerging, the fragments of her body still half in darkness of the noumenal realm and half bathed in the light of manifestation. We'll take a look at that. You know, you can see the light and the dark in the vehicle here. By stepping onto the narrow razor edge path, which you can see that she is treading, which runs between the pairs of opposites, she at once exemplifies the lesson of Libra and reveals the gift of Venus, the ability to coordinate mind and heart. This is a very mental symbol, but the heart is strongly accentuated, and we see here both the accentuation of the brain area associated with the mind and of the heart. The ability to coordinate mind and heart, the power of mind transmuted into wisdom through the instrumentality of love. Mind, love, and wisdom all come together in Venus. Just as Venus emerges from the radiant violet male figure, we see that is Uranian back here. And of course Uranus is much associated with violet, being such a strong planet of the seventh ray, which is this image, which in this image represents Uranus. So does the impetus to coordinate the mind and heart emerge from a more fundamental purpose, that of anchoring the realm of the soul in our world through the medium of the personality. And this anchorage, of course, is related to the seventh ray of Uranus and to Saturn as well, both of them very anchoring forces having to do with the etheric and the physical parts, respectively, of the physical plane. So this is the work of Uranus, which the Tibetan describes as, quote, occult consciousness, or that intelligent fusing condition, which produces the scientific at-one-ment of the two factors, higher and lower self, through the intelligent use of the mind. And as stated, Saturn is depicted on the top as the planet of opportunity, and it completes the third aspect trinity of influences of Libra. Saturn is exalted in Libra. At the point of balance, opportunity comes. There's much geometry in this, and slowly you can look at this when it comes to you. Many equilateral triangles are found here in the image, and the equilateral triangle is the perfect symbol of the atmic plane of will. The nirvanic plane, in a way, it's a plane of consummation for the human being, and the triangle is its symbol, and Saturn rules that atmic plane. So Saturn, Libra, and the triangle and the atmic plane are factors which are all united. Okay. The pentagon is there, and the fifth ray is suggested by the pentagon. The 3, 5, and 7 are emphasized. Libra, the first real vision of the path appears, the narrow, razor-edged path. Life of soul and form is balanced. Neither dominates. There is equilibrium. It's an interlude wherein the soul organizes itself for battle, which would happen in Scorpio when the scales tip, and the personality waits. This is the probationary path. Duality is known, but also later there is Libra represents higher aspects of the path as well, and even can bring us into Shambhala and relate to the great decision which occurs at the sixth initiation, which Libra and the third ray rule. I choose the way which leads between the two great lines of force. And Francis also here has another image done earlier. It has much to be discussed, but basically it shows this dynamic balance between the male and the female. Again, the Dorje and the bell, the male and the female, and the point of perfectly fluid equilibrium, many of the elements coming together in a perfect balance. You can only imagine what it would be like to walk across this chasm and keep one's balance. Thus it is with Libra in our life process. Okay, friends, you can study this more fully when you receive the video and go into some of the deeper geometrical factors which Francis has so beautifully brought forth in these two images. Now we will, I think, begin with our meditative work. We are actually we are concluding, we're concluding the day of aspiration and entering the day of dedication, the actual full moon, let's see, a little less than 24 hours ahead of us. So we're in this day of dedication, and we'll be entering 12 hours before the full moon, the day of safeguarding, receiving and holding, and we realize that the masters are attentive to the rising groups and rising individuals at this period of time. You know, we're supposed to take full advantage of the exact moment of the full moon. I have to say also that we'll be doing a full moon exact moment here. Tuya, my wife, will be doing a broadcast, and I have sent that to everybody, the link for that, and that begins at 10 minutes after 10 GMT. And that is on the 18th, just as this is the 17th GMT. So I hope you can join us when you don't have your own other commitments for the full moon moment. Maybe you can join us for the exact full moon broadcast with music and much imagery. All right, I think we're ready to begin together at the midpoint of the astrological year, making this a descent, shall we say, into the lower part of the lower interlude, this point of manifestation, which the last three signs will bring us, and then at the solstice, the rising again towards the higher interlude. So we will begin together. And we withdraw our consciousness from the personality, because we are not really the personality. We are the soul in incarnation. Well, we are all things, of course, but on the way to that realization we have to differentiate. And we realize ourselves as not the etheric physical body, as not the sentient, feeling, emotional states, and we are not the mind, or really any aspect of the mind, but at this point the lower mind, we are not that. The thought form making power or principle. We are the observing consciousness, the point of being, of power, of love, of light, immersed within the personality and having its own truer home upon the higher mental plane. Not our final home by any means, but a truer home than the customary environment in which we, the point, live while in incarnation. So in fact we abstract ourselves, pulling back, pulling within. And through the imagination, if through nothing else, we realize ourselves to be merged with the soul on its own plane. For the time being, we'll consider that the higher mental plane. It's a world of reflected spiritual light, spiritual love, spiritual sacrificial will. We are in that world and connected with each other over time and space in that world. We are some 60 of us perhaps apparently separated by time and space, but not at all really. Nor are we separated from our fellow members of the new group of world servers in the world of soul, nor from the men and women of goodwill, nor are we separated from all human beings, whether in the body or out of the body. It's a soul connection. It's one large group soul, one soul of humanity, as if we can touch every member of that large planetary group, touch them in the realm of soul. And then we realize the great second ray mantra. As we do that, we realize naught is but me, the great I, the great me, which includes all the identities, all the apparently different identities. Libra is one of those signs in which one can merge in contemplation with the object one is contemplating. The subject and the object are one. Naught is but me. It's really a sign of identification through merging. We use our imagination to think of all the many human beings, think of them as souls, and as many likes and dislikes as there may be, and differences in energies, still, at the root of it all, naught is but me. And we are merging together. All of us have, those of us working in this group, a point, a composite point of mental focus, as if all the mental units are fused, stimulated by the will of the soul. The downpouring will of the soul infuses this group. We can all feel, at least imaginatively, the will to initiate, the will to unify, the will to evolve, the will to harmonize, the will to act, the will to cause, and the will to express. These seven-ray qualities of the soul will are all entering our united group. Stimulating this lower point of the Antakarana, from which we can imagine each one of us the dual-colored rainbow bridge rising. Each of us with two colors, one of our personality ray and one of our soul ray, as we can see the red of ray 1, the indigo of ray 2, the green of ray 3, the yellow of ray 4, the orange of ray 5, the silvery rose or light blue of ray 6, and the violet of ray 7. Each of us with this colored, dual-colored rainbow bridge, or simply use the color indigo if we are uncertain of our soul and personality ray. The group rises, cone-like. These colors are rising, each one of us cone-like, part of the cone rising towards the point of blue-white light representing our spirit, but necessarily passing into the spiritual triad, where we can touch something of the mind of God through the mental permanent atom and the higher mental vehicle, something of the love of God through the Buddhic permanent atom and the Buddhic vehicle, for some in process of organization, and finally the atmic permanent atom and atmic vehicle, giving us the impersonal perspective. So the many colors of the group Rainbow Bridge are seen, or if we wish, we can take them inward towards the center of a sphere where the blue-white diamond can await us. It's as if the higher and the lower aspects of man are all united. And we will use the second ray mantra, I see the greatest light. We will project a beam of light all along the rising antikarana towards the spirit, the monad aspect, giving us alignment with the higher worlds which we ourselves have not generated, but are aspects of the planetary logos. We'll use the Om and think inwardly, I see the greatest light, as we sound the Om 3 times, projecting rapier-like the beam of light, every one of us, the beam of light towards the spirit aspect. I see the greatest light. The great light of Shambhala, the unfettered enlightenment of Shambhala, itself simply a reflection of ever greater lights. I see the greatest light, and this will illumine our considerations as we are pondering the great sources of energy. So we will access, yes, the light of the soul, but also, to the extent possible, to be impressed by the greater planetary perspective. I see the greatest light. And into this world that we now touch and from which we receive impression, we penetrate, and this is also the world where the masters, the members of the spiritual hierarchy of our planet, have their true focus, the triadal realm. And we will express our solidarity with the elder brothers, these great beings who guide human progress. We will offer our salutations according to the directions of Master DK. In a number of meditations he offered these salutations, and we will express our solidarity with these guides of the race, our teachers, and for many the source of inspiration. Om. Salutations to the Christ, the Master of all masters. Salutations to the triangle of masters with whom we most closely work. Master Morya, Master Kuthumi, Master Jwal Kul. Salutations to Master Morya, the head of all esoteric schools and organizations. Salutations to Master Kuthumi, the coming Christ of the age of Capricorn, the head of the great second ray ashram, whose purpose it is to prepare for the reappearance of the Lord Maitreya. Salutations to the Master Jwal Kul, who has given us the teaching of hierarchy in 2 installments already, a 3rd to come, who prepares aspirants for initiation. Salutations to your own Master as you know him to be or conceive him to be. Salutations to the Great White Lodge, the entire spiritual hierarchy of our planet. We raise our thought in imagination towards the King of Shambhala, attempting in all reverence and humility to be identified as a group soul with the purpose and the will emanating from Sanat Kumara, residing at the center of perfect peace, which is Shambhala, and thus related to Libra, the sign of peace. The long, inward, silent Om as we attune as a group to the purpose, the will, the power, the eternal love, the unfettered enlightenment emanating from Shambhala. These are our alignments as a group, all the way from the spirit aspect down into our more material aspect, and in fellowship, in companionship with the great ones. And now we move together as if we were a point of light, love, and power. We are that point of being, of consciousness. We consolidate and visualize ourselves as that point of great light, of growing love, and of spiritual sacrificial power. We are that, and we are poised on the golden path, so related to Libra in a way, this golden path leading into the heart of the indigo sun. Where great revelation can come to us. The golden path and the indigo sun. And Master DK is at the center of that indigo sun, and towards him the path moves, shortening to be absorbed into his consciousness and presence, and we, the point of light, love, and power, traveling with the golden path as it shortens, and is absorbed into the indigo sun, where we find, we imagine, we feel the presence of the Master closest to us, who has undertaken the training of so many of us. We feel his presence in the center of the indigo sun. We feel our consciousness infused by his, as if we as a group can become an outpost of the Master's consciousness, understanding now in a deeper way than hitherto possible the energies now available to us. We will understand the energy of Venus, the exoteric ruler, making possible the emergence of soul values, balanced wisely with personality necessities. We will be touching the solar angel through Venus. We will be approaching Uranus, the esoteric ruler, allowing us to touch our archetype, our name, and achieve, even in these lower worlds, archetypal authenticity, the true pattern in the heavens. Uranus, the heavenly one. Libra, the perfectly beautiful, balanced archetype, the standing wave. And we will touch together Saturn, the hierarchical ruler, the exalted planet, suggesting the consummation of karma in justice and beauty, suggesting the achievement of nirvana, for Saturn rules the nirvanic or atmic plane. We will touch as a group these high things, at least in the imagination, and bring them into our consciousness and our energy system to augment the quality of our life. and to be distributed to all human beings during these next few days. These are real presences, these are real gods, real aspects of the Solar Logos and of Logoi beyond, aspects of the One Life with a certain quality, and their Davic streams are available to us and reach right down into our daily life. And we must treat them as real and accessible streams of energy that we can understand, receive, direct. And thus enrich our spiritual lives in cooperation with the plan which requires the right distribution of these energies. Libra is so needed in the world today, as are its planetary rulers, and Libra is growing stronger in the planetary horoscope, and so are its planetary rulers, to achieve the balance in this unbalanced human family and planet in transition. We ponder on the power of Venus in relation to Libra, this planet fortifying the loving, wise, illumined influence of the supervising solar angel. Venus and the solar angel, Venus and the angel of the presence within our causal body, within our egoic lotus. Another quality altogether than the earthly quality. Venus, the great magnet, magnetizing the personality towards the soul and leading to the divine marriage we all seek, the fusion of our angelic self and our human self. Venus, the sponsor of the marriage in the heavens, taking place in us all along, and especially ever since the first initiation, the higher and the lower triangle merging, the marriage in the heavens. We contemplate Venus together. It's as if the great Lord of Venus is present here, and of course that is true. All the planets interpenetrate each other. The consciousness of that great group, the sacred and non-sacred planets interfused. The Venus of the orange color of the fifth ray, of the rose color of the sixth ray, of the indigo color of the second ray. All these are Venus. It's as if we breathe the quality of this planet into our group. Because the group needs this love, this illumination, this beauty. And we see this energy of Venus improving the quality of our group. We will sound the Om on one of the Venusian notes. We'll use the note A, an indigo note, and we'll see the infusion of the group and of the new group of world servers, the men and women of goodwill and of all humanity, with this indigo quality of Venus, bringing the solar angel ever closer to humanity, the great solar angel of humanity itself, the composite of all the solar angels, the marriage in the heavens. So the group has absorbed the ray of Venus, its stream of energy, and will increasingly absorb and radiate it during these days. And now on to the esoteric ruler, which is Uranus. And in relation to Libra, it will bring in a new social order, based on archetypal authenticity in all relations, relating to each other as the real self, as the archetype we are, and not as some artificial self, not as a fabrication or a conditioned self, but as the true inner archetypal self. And new forms of group creativity will emerge when the true selves of individuals come together in cooperation, in creative cooperation. And this has very much to do also with the transmutation of the sex impulse from the Uranianly ruled sacral center up to the throat center of the individual and of humanity. And Uranus will also rule there at some point, lifting this energy as humanity must do at the first initiation to become truly creative. So we can contemplate fresh modes of human cooperation and interplay, which contribute to the vitalization, the betterment, and balance of all energy systems, great and small, within our planet. Vitalization, betterment, these words, Uranian words. So let's attempt to absorb the stream of energy emanating from Uranus, largely for us, a seventh ray violet energy, stimulating especially the etheric body, but also the occult mind. And we let our authenticity emerge, because that is the way for a truly creative society to emerge. People carrying their soul name into relation with each other, and their even deeper spirit name, the archetypal name, the pattern. And when archetypes come together, an unusual type of creativity emerges, one that is based on the divine will, which wants to see those archetypes express individually and in cooperative combination. So we feel the electricity of Uranus rendering our group authentic in its soul and spirit. Capable of meeting other groups in authenticity. Authentically cooperative. Learning the real meaning of the inner pattern and its use in achieving the balance within humanity. When all the real selves come forth and unite in harmony, there will be the balance. But many are the transformations needed before that can occur. And so we take this energy into our group and see how it can improve all that we do and all that the wider groups do. Something more real emerging in our group life and in the life of humanity. And we will see this happening. We'll sound a seventh ray note. It's the note B. It's a violet note. It's a lunar note, but the moon veils Uranus in this case. The violet note of improvement, of transformation, of repatterning, of archetypal authenticity. And we see the good happening as we sound this note. So we have absorbed to a degree the stream of seventh ray Uranian energy, combining it with Venus, the solar angel and the archetype, the Son and the Father. And another planet hierarchical is Saturn, in a way the Father and the Mother. The great planet of the third ray, the hierarchical ruler, and exalted in this sign, such a Saturnian sign in a positive sense. So, seeking to touch the Saturnian stream, we contemplate together divine law, far above its human reflection, the laws of man. Divine law expressing through the spiritual will from the atmic plane, this plane of Libra and of Saturn, the spiritual will. Divine law in our lives, in our groups, finally in all of humanity and on this planet, divine law. A law which, if humanity followed, would lead to its rising along the initiatory points towards liberation. The law of the soul first, of course, the 7 laws of the soul, but further than that, the laws of still higher realms, and we can accord with these laws as we sense them, and live, no matter what the consequences, according to these higher laws. And much of our conditioning in the lower worlds would break up if that occurred. Saturn puts on the pressure, and it breaks up the crystallizations and those combinations which do not reflect the archetype. From the atmic plane, the divine plan is conceived, and we try to realize the dynamic equilibrium in manifestation, which is intended by the divine plan. It is an expression of Atma. And it's impulsed from the highest levels of the triad. And so we ponder under law on the lawful balancing of karmic imbalances. We're all in that process now. Much karmic adjustment is occurring on our planet. There's a rebalancing occurring under Saturn. And the relation of this rebalancing to the just and harmonious expression of the divine plan. Under law, expiating karma, working towards the beauty of the archetype by the fulfillment of karma in our own lives, in our groups, in humanity. The Saturnian stream, the friend of the disciple, the god of opportunity, and not simply, as the Tibetan says, the deity which brings disaster. No, the deity bringing opportunity to expiate our karma and enter into archetypal relation, perfect balance, through the fulfillment of the divine will which karma represents. We need Saturn in our groups, the right kind of Saturn, fulfilling all group karma within these groups, and coming to a just and balanced state. And so we will direct into our group this green stream of Saturnian energy on a note of the third ray, the note Fa, the note of the personality of matter form and of the previous solar system. We will direct this stream of energy into our groups, understanding the lawful living which can occur under Saturn. And so we individually, we as a group, we're carrying the green stream and the violet stream and the various colors of the Venusian stream, the indigo, the rose, the orange. And our group life is improving because of this. And during these days ahead we will be cognizant of the presence of these streams and let them do their transformational, transmutative work within our energy system and that of the group and within the energy system of humanity. We can imagine that. These streams flowing in and improving all of the energies used by the human race. This takes us, of course, to the great solar logos, the blue logos, whose ray is indigo, we are told. And how interesting that Master DK has associated the color indigo with Libra. Great solar logos in whom we live and move and have our being. This God of love wisdom pouring through all of us every full moon. Love wisdom through his personality, through his soul, and even perhaps eventually through the monadic nature, a great heart center. And we pause for a moment to feel ourselves as part of that great heart center, as if we are essentially units of love, regardless of our rays, whatever they may be. We are all units of divine love. In the presence of the solar logos, visible in a sense on every clear day. The sun as his representative, how close he is, intimately close. There's a great love available at the time of Libra. It is the sign of the Spirit of Peace and of the Prince of Peace. And we're in the indigo energy. We have been ever since we entered the indigo sphere with Master Decay, understanding all of this that we try to touch, a deep, loving understanding of all these energies. But let us rise now toward the constellation itself, towards its light, the light that moves to rest, the light that oscillates up and down until a point of balance is achieved. The Libran light, the light of the third ray, yes, but also behind it of the second ray, bringing in the planets associated with it, always moving through the sun as well. When you look towards Scorpio, you see Libra. It's in a triangular formation. How interesting, the stars form a triangle. The triangle, Saturn, Atma, spiritual will, Libra, the balance. We will immerse ourselves within that Libran stream of energy. The principal color, indigo, but all the other colors there as well. And our work is to, as a group and in identification with the new group of world servers and the men and women of goodwill, and really with all humanity as souls, I choose the way which leads between the two great lines of force. I choose the way which leads between the two great lines of force. What does it mean in your life, in your group, in humanity at this time? What does it mean? We use our full alignment, extending into the spiritual triad, to be impressed by the meaning of these words. I choose the way which leads between the two great lines of force. The golden path, the golden rule, the noble middle path, all these. So many middle paths. What is the middle path we will choose? Some people choose a path between personality and soul, giving each its due. But there are other and higher middle paths. Can we bring spirit and matter together into an indissoluble oneness on the central channel? I choose the way which leads between the two great lines of force. Can we find the path that leads straight through between the pairs of opposites, and is neither one and yet both? I choose the way which leads between the two great lines of force. This is the royal road, and it leads from the base to the crown, from will to purpose, and into Shambhala. It leads on greater paths far beyond the one we are treading now. It leads to paths on the great way of higher evolution, towards those great centers of energy which even now stimulate our thought and all of our expression. Beyond the solar system, these Libran paths will lead, each with his own path. But for now it would be enough to enter on the middle way into the world of soul, and eventually into the world of spirit. I choose the way which leads between the two great lines of force. So we hold this idea of treading this middle way. We try to find out what for us is the middle way, what for the new group of world servers is the middle way, what for humanity at this time especially of karmic retribution, what is the middle and desirable way for humanity? Who is the aspirant, becoming the disciple, and eventually the initiate? All of these related to Libra. I choose the way which leads between the two great lines of force. And thus to choose, choice must be made. The other mantram of Libra. And thinking of the paths, it all starts for us in a way from the one about whom naught may be said, which we can with good reason center within the Pleiades, a great cluster related to Libra through the third ray and through the second, and from there the dragon power is important. It's Uranian. It rules the base of the spine, but also it rises to the crown of the head, and thence into Libra, the constellation on which we now focus, and towards the sun, the great transformer. This Libran energy flows, carrying all its rays to the planets, the very real beings who are here with us now, the Lord of Venus, of Uranus, of Saturn, present as presences throughout our planet, and anchoring in Shambhala, where the law of assembly rules, where the great king holds sway, the king of peace, the Libran relation to Shambhala, and into our monadic nature and our soul nature. The heart holds the balance, and the hierarchy is the heart. And into the personalities of every one of us, from the crown to the base, along the royal road, the path all the way from the one about whom naught may be said, accessible of course only in imagination, but all the way from that local cosmic logos right down to the base of the spine center, in each one of us, stimulating our groups, the world servers, all positively intending men and women of goodwill, and all of humanity, with the divine beauty of Libra, its balance, and its possibility of treading the path before us, whatever that may be. In Libra we tread the path, and the two become the one. So we look out into humanity, considering that Libra is growing in power in the planetary horoscope, as it must. DK once said, therefore there is no real cause for concern. The fourth ray is coming in with its harmonizing effect, and Libra is growing in strength, but of course the next few years before 2025, the end of the year, the end of this period of the forerunner. This will determine much, because humanity is making a choice, and we are making a choice with humanity, and let our choice influence its choice. So look out into the world and find the place where the Libran quality really is needed. We'll each maybe find a different place. There's so many problems going on, unfairness in the world, financial problems everywhere, problems of right human relations everywhere. Where would we focus? As if the group could bring in a stream of Libran energy to help solve some of these problems. We can make up perhaps a little mantra, a few words to convey the solution we would like to see in the area we would like to see it. And we will sound the Om 3 times. We'll use the second ray note, since it's the most important ray on our planet and in the solar system, and is also related to Libra. We will see the positive changes occurring. Positive changes. As we direct, let us say, an indigo stream along the Libran line into the place where rebalancing must occur. So you see the improvements occurring as you sound the Om. During this day of safeguarding, with the full moon coming on Friday the 18th at 11:37:39, we will use our power to be impressed. We will use the creative imagination to distribute the energies we receive. And right now we will, together, sound the great invocation. And begin to see these energies flowing into humanity. We receive and we distribute, and during the time ahead, still some 22 hours or so before the exact full moon, we will build up this impression, build up the energy within our system, always remembering we function as a group with hierarchy. And so, From the point of light within the mind of God, let light stream forth into the minds of men. Let light descend on earth. From the point of love within the heart of God, let love stream forth into the hearts of men. May Christ return to earth. From the center where the will of God is known, let purpose guide the little wills of men, the purpose which the masters know and serve. From the center which we call the race of men, let the plan of love and light work out, and may it seal the door where evil dwells. Let light and love and power restore the plan on earth. I'd like to thank you all for attending this meditation and encourage you to stay in alignment during these next, well, approximately 22 hours or so. We will have an exact moment, a full moon. Tuya will direct this. It'll be a broadcast. I've sent you the link for it. If you don't have the link and you want it, just write to me at infinitize8@gmail.com and I'll send you the link, but you should have it. And it will be a service with music and imagery, and we know very powerful. Exact time of the full moon, 11:37:39, 39 seconds, GMT. On Friday night GMT. It'll be on Saturday here in Europe and Saturday for Australia and New Zealand. So thank you very much for attending, and keep the alignment, the Royal Road, and we'll do our distribution over the next number of days, and hopefully we can get this to you if you want to use this meditation at any point for distribution work. So thank you, everyone. Thank you, staff, and all who have attended. And good night, good morning, good day. We'll see you before long. Bye-bye.